Lord, it's so hard living this life, a constant struggle every Sunday. Some wonder why I'd rather die than to continue cheering this way. Many are blind, still think two is good. The truth is, no one seems to really know. But I won't accept that this is how it's gonna be. Chris Griff finally got his old bitch ass let go. 'Cause I want a winning team, a complete team. I'm talking offense, defense, special teams. See, I want a winning team, a complete team. Don Shula, please come back and save we. Okay, let's get into this. Okay. So yeah, I saw the update. I did. I just didn't believe it. Okay. I got the notification coming across my phone, just like you got the notification came across your phone, and I ignored it. Didn't pay it no attention. Okay. But let me tell you, when I clocked out to go home and I walked outside on Monday, the sky was a little bit bluer. Grass was a little bit greener. Oddly enough, what sound like duck quacks and crow calls to you, all I heard was bird songs in my ear. Right? And, you know, a pigeon, nasty ass little pigeon, came and landed on my shoulder like it was the song of the South or something. I said, "Get off me, Sky Rat." And that shit flew away. And as it did, it dropped a little bit of bird dookie on the car windshield of one of my coworkers that I cannot stand. I said, this ain't real life. Even when I got in the car to drive home, when I got on the highway, I used my blinker, everybody let me over. I ain't had no problems with nobody. I get no road rage, and I got road rage. I ain't catch no, I caught all green lights headed to the house. I caught every green light headed to the house. And I said, nah, I'm caught in the Matrix. This ain't it. So, being the cynical, superstitious dude that I am, I just went to bed that night. Okay? And I had a bad dream too. I don't even want to talk about it. It wasn't like a nightmare or nothing like that. Just wasn't a good dream. Okay? Woke up in a cold sweat. All right? The voice of Don Shula, shook me out of it. He said, "Yeah, no, wake up. That some bitch is gone." So I opened my eyes all the way up and cut on the Joe Rose show, and I heard Joe Rose say the Miami Dolphins have released quarterback Tua Tagovailoa. And bro, let me tell you, it felt like so on Monday, March 9th, the Miami Dolphins did something that most franchises don't ever do. They admitted that they were wrong. When you release your franchise quarterback and you take on $99 million worth of dead cap space and you start moving the veteran contracts out the building, that ain't no roster tweak. That's not roster maintenance. That's high-end demolition. Okay? So taking a look at what just happened, as the NFL calendar year opened up on March 11th, the Miami Dolphins and John Eric Sullivan and head coach Jeff Hafley ain't wasting no time reconstructing this roster. Okay, the man might just be a Sith Lord, and I'm gonna tell you why. It's because he believes in tearing down the old, not the destruction, but the demolition of the former to build atop the ashes of the new. However the Sith say it, I don't know. That's my Star Wars fandom coming out. You gotta ignore me sometimes. Yeah. So yeah, I'm probably not old enough to remember. I don't remember any of my great grandfathers or my grandfathers' Sunday sermons, but I got a feeling I'm gonna end up sounding like one of the two of them up here. In this, we got a new Miami. I'm gonna use this on Sundays after the game. We got a Miami Dolphin pulpit. Say amen. Cause let me tell you, we finna have some Dolphins church up in here. Look, I had me a little tiny desktop party once I knew it was real. Okay, so before we get all emotional and get into any of this. Let's real fast. Let's take a look at the timeline. Okay, so the coaching regime reset in January. Mike McDaniel fired. John Eric Sullivan hired as GM. Jeff Hafley hired as the head coach. Okay, the players that they released, I have no clue who these dudes were, but defensive tackle Simeon Barrow, defensive back Jack Henderson, tight end Chris Myriak, okay, whatever. He ain't here no more. Offensive tackle Kadeem Telford, and that's it. These are not headline players, but this is how the roster reshape begins. You get rid of those bottom pieces that don't fit the system, and then you go with your future signings. Seth Coleman, Omar Brown, Keith Cooper Jr., Brayden Daniels, Cole Turner, and Carter Warren. I have no idea who they are, but these are basically developmental lottery tickets. These ain't nothing but scratch-offs. If you get a starter out of one of these dudes, then you hit the jackpot. You know, low-end contract, they ain't going to cost you absolutely nothing. And if they contribute, more power to you. Then we took Black History Month. We had February come on in. This is when you can see the smoke signals going up. You know how the Indians hit the carpet over the fire and it sends up the smoke signals, and where there's smoke, there's usually fire. Tyreek Hill get released. Nick Westbrook, I kind of don't know how to pronounce his name anyway, got released. James Daniels got released. And Taz, don't send me no more of that Pittsburgh crap, because Pittsburgh is garbage and we don't want none of your leftover garbage. So don't send me no more of your raggedy leftovers out of Pittsburgh. And don't y'all sign nobody out of Pittsburgh, because once you leave Pittsburgh, you know, you kind of expended. Anyway, that's my hate for the Steelers. When you let go of Tyreek Hill, and he's basically your most explosive player that you got on your roster, and one of the most explosive players in the league, that's an identity decision. You're choosing to go in a completely different direction, because that man defined, like Chris Perk said, the Dolphins' offensive identity was Tyreek Hill and the threat of Tyreek Hill, and he was spot on with that. So you get rid of Tyreek Hill, and then you the one that's always being late, you got rid of him. You tell me, him.
About that he wouldn't get in your head. But you managed to get in his head, you think?
What you think? You tell me. You tell me. Anytime I lined up on him. Yeah, y'all go watch that. Y'all tell me who got in who head. He came up to me after the game. You feel me?
Then we get down to March. All right. We got the releases of Alec Ingold. Alec Ingold was a locker room leader, Pro Bowl fullback, 3-time captain, and I didn't see not now one D-cleater block from him. I didn't see you cleared away for Mostert. I didn't see you cleared away for Achane. You was out there, but I didn't really see you do much. Maybe, yeah, whatever. I'm good with Alec Ingold being gone. Jason Sanders, the Colonel, holds the franchise field goal percentage record, and maybe we can get him back later for cheaper. I don't know. But Riley Patterson did okay this year, so if they wanted to bring Riley back, I'm good with Riley. Riley did just fine by me. But guess what? They gone, bro.
Yeah, you gotta go.
They not coming back, and that's the beginning of this full organizational reset. And right now, cap space matters way more than your sentimental feelings about players that you're missing. Okay. The little bitty minor moves that they made. Take a look at it. They re-signed Cameron Good. Depth chart guy. They tendered Ethan Bonner. I don't know why. And they released Liam Eichenberg. And I know a lot of y'all didn't like Ike, but that dude earned my respect. Dude has heart. He played with guts. And most of all, he could take a joke better than Jonathan Martin.
I almost had him. You stuttering prick yet. Frankie, was he shaking?
All right. Christian Wilkins bullied the hell out of that dude while he was here, but it was a big brother, little brother thing, you know, but he handled it like a football player. And, you know, respect to Liam, man. I hope he catches on somewhere. It just didn't work out here. I mean, we really thought we had a good pick with that dude, man. Second round out of Notre Dame. Thanks, Chris Greer. Anyway. Bear with me a sec here. I got to do something real quick.
Wow, I feel good. I knew that I wouldn't. I feel good. I knew that I wouldn't. So good, so good. I got to you. Wow, I feel nice. A sugar spine.
Okay, let's take a look at evaluating the moves. So when a new regime takes over, you evaluate the moves through 3 questions. Cap logic, roster construction, competitive timeline. All right? Cap logic, it means, does the move that we're about to make sense financially long-term? Is it going to hurt us? Roster construction, is this player that we're acquiring adding talent, or does he come with a skill set that we can use on the field?
But what I do have are a very particular set of skills. Skills I've acquired over a very long career.
The competitive timeline, how long is it going to be before we start winning some doggone games and looking good out there? And that's the most important. That's the one that everybody want to know right there. But it's going to take some time. You're going to have to be patient, bro. Let them dudes cook. And stop complaining on the chat board because you don't like the move. You cheer for the process, man. All right, so Cameron Good re-signing. I like Cameron Good, special teams guy, high effort, but when you're trying to rebuild a defense that needs edge help, somebody that can rush the pass and set the edge,
You know what I mean?
that's not the move that moves the needle. So Cameron Good is he's homegrown, but he's a Greer pick. And I'm not real big on keeping any of the Greer picks. Ethan Bonner. Tendering Ethan Bonner at cornerback, I got real beef with that because Ethan Bonner sucks. All right? He's got straightaway speed. He can run with HN. He can run with Waddle. But, maybe they see something worth developing. I hope that they are right. But I know y'all saw what I saw when I say that man has no ball location skills. Okay? That dude is, when you playing with your dog and you throw the ball, you pretend to throw it and you still got it in your hand and he's looking for it. That's Ethan Bonner on the field when the ball is in the air. He can't locate it. He doesn't see it. 3 seasons, he ain't had a whole lot of snaps, but he only got 1 interception. He's only got 1 play of note that I've seen. He's fast, but, whatever. The cornerback room is real thin right now. They really need to see about bringing back Rasul Douglas if he wants to be a part of what we got going on, if he thinks we can compete year 1 or year 2, whatever. You want to bring back Jack Jones, I'm cool with that too. And even Storm Duck. But Storm Duck got to be healthy. Let's be honest. When he was out there, he didn't look good, But then you got Ethan Bonner. So nothing about what we got at cornerback right now screams stability, okay? And ain't nothing in our cornerback room going to make Josh Allen or Drake May take off and run, okay? They going to be dotting. Anyway, that right there lets you know that cornerback is a major position of need in this draft and free agency period. So whether we veteran, rookie, whatever, do something with the position because we desperately need help there. Offensive line still remains a major concern. I was going to say at the time of scripting, Austin Jackson needed to redo his contract and shake him down, but they did. He took a pay cut or whatever. They restructured him, and he needed to because 6 games ain't gonna get it, homie. The production just didn't match the value. So I hope he get it together this year, and because I think he's a good run blocker. Maybe we make something happen on that right side, especially if you move Jonas Savaiinaya back to his natural position of right guard. Y'all scouted him at left guard, and then this is Greer and McDummy with the Madden mindset, taking one player from the opposite side of the line and putting them on the other side. I mean, you could do that, but everything ain't gonna be all right. There's a reason why a left tackle's a left tackle and a right tackle's a right tackle. But they know that, and anyway. Patrick Paul is a beast amongst boys, and I got no problem with how they developing him and how he's coming along, and neither do you, okay? But offensive line is still a major position of need. We got to take care of that in the draft and in free agency. Sign somebody, draft somebody. Defensive needs, biggest issue that we got right now. We desperately need pass rush. Bradley Chubb gone, and Jalen Phillips is gone. So all we got is Chop. And if that's the plan, to have Chop carrying the load, setting the edge in a 4-3 scheme,
You know what I mean?
that plan is not complete. So, but again, I'm cheering for the process. I'm not going to sit here and just complain about what they're doing, like, some of y'all doing on these fan chat boards and these groups. I mean, just y'all got no patience, but you're human beings. I get it. So, where does the roster still break with the biggest concerns? Edge rusher, offensive line stability, cornerback, and now safety. We done traded Minka to the Jets. So long, he ain't gonna hurt nobody over there in the Jets, and he's got that same super soft mentality as Tua, and good riddance to both of them. I'm glad both of them are gone. Yeah. So, wide receiver depth. Are you good with Waddle as your number one? Is Waddle a number one? With Jalen Waddle basically carrying the receiver room, if y'all are good with that, you're not paying attention because that dude has a lot to improve in his game. He is a one-trick pony. He's fast, and he can run the 10-yard in. But we got a quarterback who can get it outside the numbers now, buddy, so you're going to have to come up with some route running. So what position should Miami attack first in the draft? That's the question that comes out of taking a look at the initial roster moves. All right? So for everything that they've done, you got to step back and take a look at what they're actually doing, all right? So the Dolphins are moving away from the high-priced, star-driven roster model that Chris Greer dumbass used, and instead Sullivan and Hafley coming in, and they building the roster around youth flexibility, and development, okay? And you need to understand that is not a quick fix. They are playing the long game, and I got no problem with that. So now that the Tyreek Hill era is over, now that the Tua experiment is finished, you get rid of these veteran contracts, man, and you see that Sullivan is using his Green Bay background. He is resetting the cap. Hafley is a teaching coach. The man came from Division 2, 3, worked his way all the way up. He is a teacher. He told you he's a teacher. He wants young players that he can teach the system to. And all of that is the Packer style of development. They said they're going to have quarterback competition in that room. And we got Quinn Ewers. I'd like to see what he can do. We got Malik Willis now, And if you think they're not drafting a quarterback, you haven't been paying attention. There's nothing in the rules that say we can't draft a quarterback this draft. All right. So yeah, the Packer way. They believe in developing over star collecting. That's the Green Bay philosophy brought to Miami. And if you need to have that explained to you, you can catch the Are We the Miami Packers or the Green Bay Dolphins episode. And I break it all down to you right there. So with these initial actions, okay, there's immediate consequences that comes out of that. It starts to set the timeline, okay? So right now, because all of you Tuaneers and your Tuasexuals and your Tuanon, all of you Hawaiian punchy fanboys, y'all are gonna have Malik Willis under a microscope. See, Tua wouldn't have done whatever, Malik Willis now becomes the bridge experiment. It's a 2-year audition for him to get a long-term deal, and there's nothing wrong with that. Draft being critical with that number 11 pick, you're gonna have to address some foundational positions. Whether we trade out of that pick or we add more picks, whoever these first players, they have to be weight-bearing, load-bearing walls. They got to be centerpieces that you cannot miss on, like Chris Greer. But I'm cheering for the process. It's not that I've got faith that they're gonna do it. They haven't done anything yet. They haven't proved it, but I like what they've done so far, and I'm happy with the direction that it's going in. All right, so the cap reset window. By 2027, the Dolphins should significantly have some financial flexibility. 2026 is going to be our evaluation year. We're looking at them under a microscope. 2027, you should start to recover some of that cap that you're cutting out now. And by 2028, you should hit your contention window. Now, there's nothing to say that we can't pull a Rams or Patriots and do it sooner, in a year or two, but give it 3 years before you start talking about being competitive and why aren't we winning games? Because a lot of y'all just like to complain just to hear yourself complain or watch your keystrokes across the chat board. So stop talking out the side of your neck and let the thing progress, okay? Let's move on to this quarterback situation. Tua's gone. Tua's gone. All right, so this is the decision that defines everything. You know what I'm saying? Tua has been released. $99.2 million dead cap. They got rid of the inability to not throw the 15-yard out route outside of the hash marks and the numbers. They got rid of the inability to keep from getting your brain scrambled when you try to scramble. All right? And I, for one, could not be happier about it. All right?
Because I'm happy. Come along if you feel like a room without a roof. Because I'm happy. Come along if you feel like happiness is the truth.
The other side of that decision is Malik Willis. Because releasing Tua wasn't the whole story. The Dolphins didn't just subtract the quarterback, they added a quarterback. So at 3 years, $67.5 million, $45 million guaranteed. This is not a random signing. Willis is reuniting with Halfley and John Eric Sullivan in the same system that helped revive his career in Green Bay. Is the same system we ran with your boy Tua Tagovailoa, who is no longer here. All right, so that tells us exactly what this regime wants at quarterback. They want everything Tua is not. They want mobility. They want play extension. And then they want somebody that has the development upside. You saw Tua's window. Tua's ceiling was in 2021, not 2023, not 2022. He was who he is in 2021 when Brian Flores told you that we couldn't win with him. He was what he was in 2020 when I told you not to draft his sorry ass. My bigger, what would you say? He don't play in MIA. Not Tua, what would you say? He don't play in MIA. Not Tua, what would you say? He don't play in MIA. My nigga, what would you say? He don't play in MIA. What's up? Sorry, arm. Can't scramble, can't throw a 15 out. So we get rid of a precision quarterback for a potential quarterback. Oh, that's pretty cool. Look at that. Dolphins, Miami, Dolphins. Huh. Cut blender. That's neat. So whether you love the move or you hate the move, you're going to have to deal with it. It's a philosophical shift, all right? So what I want to know from the real Dolphin fans, not the Tua fans, I want to know, would you rather be rebuilding with the potential that we have in our new quarterback, or would you rather have kept the same familiarity? Hit me up in the comments with that. So let's get to the verdict about what the initial moves have shown us so far. All right. So the Miami Dolphins front office have chosen the hardest path to succeed, and that's a complete rebuild, a full reset. Not a retool, not a patch job, a reset. Remember the old 8-bit Nintendo when you hit the reset button? Yeah, reset. Let's do this over.
Come on, shake your body, baby, do that conga. No, you can't control yourself any longer. Feel the rhythm of the music getting stronger. Don't you fight it, you try to do that conga beat.
And that to be clear about it, that's the best part of the whole thing, because it shows you that they're not panicking. It's not like we don't know that Stephen Ross hasn't gone out and said this is the mandate, find me a franchise quarterback. I don't think that's the case. But what they're showing you is that the moves that they're making are not out of desperation. They're not trying to swing for the fences to impress us. And I got no beef with that, man. It's a calculated organization reset by a new regime, and that is exactly what we needed. Okay? And excuse me, whether it succeeds depends on one thing and one thing only, and that's gonna take us right to the thesis of this episode. The new regime's success depends on whether or not Sullivan and Jeff Hafley can build the roster faster than the cap damage slows them down. Write that down. Okay, so good with all of that. Happy with the initial moves. Let's take this victory lap on these suckers, okay?
And I know it's gonna be a lovely
Let's get right to it. Now, what I want to do for a brief moment is I want to remind you of the very first episode of the Fish Out of Water Show. Tua QB or not Tua QB? That was never the question, at least not for me. Okay, I don't know. I guess they watched that episode, because I would say that the organization eventually came to the same conclusion that I told them back in 2020. The same thing Brian Flores told you after 2021. And it only cost you 6 years and $99.2 million. You could have hired me 7 years ago and we wouldn't have been in this mess. But y'all don't listen. So, Dolphin fans, not Tua fans, not Tua non, not Tua nears, not your Tua sexuals, Dolphin fans. Were we right to move on from Tua? Hit me up with the comments with that. All right. So yeah, let's get up out of here. So long, Tua. Hey, 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 Tua's gone. I've enjoyed myself. I had my little tiny desktop party, and we're going to close out by saying the Miami Dolphins didn't just move on from a quarterback. They moved on from the entire philosophy and the entire strategy that built this completely flawed roster. From the quarterback to the long snapper, all of them were wrong. And so whether Whether this works or fails, you need to accept that the Sullivan-Hafley era has officially begun. And Tua Tagovailoa will never wear the aqua and orange ever again. And I am so satisfied with that.
These 3 words when you're getting busy. Whoop, there it is, Hitman. Whoop, there it is.
That. Let's watch what they do for the rest of this offseason. Fish Out of Water Show. Tua gone.